The second regular session of Emina 35 na Kongreso Manhubang Guahan, the 35th Guam Youth Congress is hereby called to order. Floor Leader Paz of Jigo, you are recognized on your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Notwithstanding House rules, I move that we resolve into the Committee of the Whole to receive the representatives-elect and administer the oath of office to the duly elected members.
On that motion, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. The Kongreso Manhubang Guahan is now resolved into a Committee of the Whole. The Kongreso Manhubang Guahan has received formal communications from Legislaturan Guahan, the 38th Guam Legislature, certifying the results of the October 2025 special elections and recognizing individuals as duly elected representatives to this body. I now call on the floor leader to announce the representatives-elect.
Mr. Speaker, the following individuals have been certified as duly elected representatives of the 35th Guam Youth Congress. Representative-elects, when your name is called, please rise and be recognized. Representative-elect Aaron Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative-elect Akira Munoz of JF Kennedy High School. Representative-elect Alexander Cruz of Father Dueñas Memorial School. Representative-elect Amelia Hope Manabusin of Tidzin High School. Representative-elect Braden Bloss of Chalanpago Ordot. Representative-elect Brilene Rosario of Business and Technology Academy Charter School. Representative-elect Gyu Bin So of St. John's School. Representative-elect Hayden Hoffman of Sinahanya. Representative-elect Isabella Puzan of Barrigada. And lastly, Representative-elect Shinez Alcairo of Simon Sanchez High School.
Thank you, Mr. Floor Leader. Will each representative-elect please raise their right hand and then repeat after me? I solemnly swear in the presence of Almighty God that I will well and faithfully support the Constitution of the United States, the laws of the United States applicable to Guam, and the laws of Guam, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my duties as a representative of the Guam Youth Congress. So help me God. Congratulations, representatives. And please turn around and face your families who are here that are proudly supporting you. Let's give them a round of applause once again. All right. We'll have more time for photos in a bit, but Floor Leader Paz of Jigo, you are recognized on your motion. You guys can be seated.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Being that the committee has completed its purpose, I move that we rise from the Committee of the Whole and report back into regular session.
On that motion, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Youth Congress is called back into regular session. Colleagues, we will take a short recess to allow for photos to be taken with our new representatives before we continue on with our adopted session agenda. We are now in recess. Yes, so you guys can, if we could have all the new representatives come up to the front and then our incumbent representatives to come up to the dais as well so that we can take a family photo with the new representatives. All right. I want to say thank you again to all of the parents who came out in strong support of their children in attendance to this session. Unfortunately, we're going to have to ask you to observe the rest of the session from our lobby pursuant to our rules. But yes, feel free to observe the rest of the session in the lobby if you wish. And thank you very much again for being in strong support of the Youth Congress. Colleagues will start as soon as the session hall is clear. Mina 35 na Kongreso Manhoban Guahan, the 35th Guam Youth Congress is called back to order. I now call upon Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero of Deredo to lead the prayer, followed by the singing of our national anthem by Floor Leader Paz of Jigo, the singing of the Guam Hymn in Samoru by Vice Speaker Toigui of Tumuning Tuman Harmon, and Representative Charfers of Mangilao to lead the Inifresi. Colleagues, please rise.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, as we come together during this Christmas season, we pause to give thanks for the blessings of this year, for growth, for learning, and for the opportunity to serve our island as young leaders. This season reminds us of the light that hope brings, the strength found in community, and the importance of peace and goodwill towards one another. We ask that these values guide our words and actions today. Grant us wisdom as we deliberate, patience as we listen, and courage to lead with integrity. As we near the close of the year, we reflect on the responsibilities we carry and the impact of even our smallest efforts. Help us to lead with compassion, to respect differing voices, and to always act in service of the people of Guam. We ask your blessings over our families, our villages, and our island during this season of togetherness. May our work today reflect unity, purpose, and a sincere desire to make Guam stronger for generations to come. In your name we pray, amen. In the name of the Father, the name, and the Holy Spirit, amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Fanhogi chamoru purita nota kanta matunon tagi toru ilugad. Padari honra, Padari gloria, abiba es la sen pada. Padari honra, Padari gloria, abiba es la sen pada. Utodu I tempu I pas pada hita zangin ni langin na bendition. Contra peligru nafan sofuham Zeus protege slanguan. Contra peligru nafan sofuham Zeus protege slanguan.
Ginini mastakilu gina soku. Imastakilum gi coraçonu, zanimas figo na ni nacional, hu oferece mais sazu para bai protei, zan hu defendi, I henengi, I cultura, I linguagem, I airi, I hanum zanitanu chamoro. Ni en shakku da retsugen en zo stata, estio fitma gi hilu Biblia, zani bendeahu I benderenguahan.
Thank you, colleagues. You may be seated. I now call upon our acting clerk of the Youth Congress and Sergeant at Arms, Mr. James Urihiwar, to conduct the first roll call.
Representative Alcairo of Simon Sanchez High School. Raise your hand. Representative Alcairo, present. Vice Speaker Toigri of Tamaning Tuman and Harmon. Vice Speaker Toigri, present. Representative Babastro of Hagat. Representative Babastro, present. Representative Benavides of the Guam Community College. Representative Benavides of the Guam Community College, present. Representative Blas of Chalampago Ordet. Representative Blas, present. Representative Kalumnum of Okudu High School. Representative Kalumnum, present. Representative Cha of Mongmong Toto Maiti. Representative Cha, absent. Representative Charperos of Mangilao. Representative Charperos, present. Representative Cruz of Father Duenas High School. Representative Cruz, present. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz, present. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative De La Cruz, present. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez, present. Representative or Speaker Fortuna of Derio. Speaker Fortuna, present. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero, present. Representative Hoffman of Sinihanya. Representative Hoffman, present. Representative Imbat of Okudu High School. Representative Imbat, present. Representative Kim of Harvest Christian Academy. Representative Kim, absent. Representative Cody Amplaco of Tamuning Tumanin Harmon. Representative Cody Amplaco, present. Representative Leon Guerrero of Academy of Our Lady of Guam. Representative Leon Guerrero, absent. Representative Liu of Derio. Representative Liu, present. Representative Manabusan of Teason High School. Representative Manabusan, absent. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz, present. Representative NG of Zotnya. Representative NG of Zotnya, absent. Representative O. Meleso. Representative O, present. Floor Leader Paz of Jigo. Floor Leader Paz, present. Representative Popoletti of Chalampago Ordet. Representative Popoletti, absent. Representative Puzan of Barragata. Representative Puzan, present. Representative Rosario of Business and Technology Academy. Representative Rosario, present. Representative Santos of Tumuning Tuman Harmon. Representative Santos, absent. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba, present. Representative Su of St. John's School. Representative Su, present. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio, present. Representative Yang of Mingilao. Representative Yang of Mingilao. Mr. Speaker, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Clerk. Floor Leader Paz of Jigo, you are recognized at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to excuse members not present and voting for this session.
Thank you. There's been a motion by Floor Leader Paz of Jigo to excuse all members not present and voting for this session. Are there any objections to that motion? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Floor Leader Paz of Jigo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to approve the Legislative Journal of the Guam Youth Congress dated November 15th, 2025.
Thank you, Floor Leader Paz. On the motion, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. The Legislative Journal of the Youth Congress dated November 15, 2025 is hereby approved. We are now on agenda item number 8, communications and petitions. Floor Leader Paz of Jigo, you are recognized.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. There are communications and petitions submitted to the 35th Guam Youth Congress to include the resignation of the representative of Teason High School, Ms. Jaylene Masga, and the representative from Guam Community College, Ms. Faith Velasco. Further, there is a communication on the notice of disqualification of the representative of Manilao, Mr. Dano Pangilinan, pursuant to Title II Guam Code Annotated, subsection 7108, due to this representative's repeated violation of the amended standing rules, to include Rule 28 regarding the legislation minimum requirements. At this time, I move that they be appended to today's legislative journal.
Thank you, Mr. Floor Leader. On a motion to append all communications and petitions submitted to the 35th Guam Youth Congress onto the Legislative Journal dated December 13, 2025, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. We are now on agenda item number 9, messages from Imagahagan Guahan and Iles Laturan Guahan. Floor Leader Paz of Jigo, you are recognized at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this time, there are no messages from Imagahagan Guahan, the Governor of Guam, and Iles Laturan Guahan, the Guam Legislature, and I move to waive this agenda item.
On the motion to waive agenda item number 9, messages from Imagahagan Guahan and the Governor of Guam and Iles Laturan Guahan, the Guam Legislature, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Colleagues, we are now on agenda item number 10, reports of standing committees. Floor Leader Paz, you're recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move to accept and append to today's legislative journal all reports of standing committees submitted as of December 13th, 2025, and to waive agenda item number 11, reports of select committees, as there are no reports submitted at this time.
On the motion, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. We are now on agenda item number 12, the introduction and first reading of bills and resolutions. Floor Leader Paz.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that bills number 14-35 LS through 15-35 LS, as well as bill number 16-35 COR through 27-COR, 27-35 COR, and resolutions number 10-35 COR through 22-35 COR be deemed to have their first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Floor Leader. On the motion, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. The aforementioned bills and resolutions shall be deemed to have been introduced and first read by this body. With no other business under agenda item number 12, we are now on agenda item number 13, the consideration of motions. Do any representatives wish to make a motion? Representative Kalimlim of Ukuru High School, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I make a motion to place Bill 15-35, introduced by myself, Jordan Kalimlim, back into the Committee on Rules.
On the motion to place bill number 15-35 CULS back to the Committee on Rules, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Are there any other representatives wishing to make a motion? Representative O, you're recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move to move Bill 17-35 COR back into the Committee on Education.
On the motion by Representative O to place, could you repeat the bill number, Representative O? Bill number
17-35.
Bill number 17-35 COR back to the Committee on Education and Youth Affairs. Are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Are there any other representatives wishing to make a motion? All right, hearing or seeing none, we will now move on with our agenda. Agenda item number 14. Floor Leader Paz, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there are no pending business under agenda item number 14, the consent calendar. At this time, I move that we waive this agenda item.
On the motion to waive agenda item number 14, the consent calendar, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. The consent calendar is waived. We are now on agenda item number 15, the second reading file. Representative Imbat of Ukuru of High School, you're recognized at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to place into the third reading file Bill number 14-35 LS, introduced by myself, Micah Janelle Imbat, an act to add a new section 4016.2 to Article 1, Chapter 4, Title 17, Guam Code Annotated, relative to requiring the Guam Department of Education to update non-textbook instructional materials and supplies every 5 to 10 years, and request to be given the opportunity to speak on this motion.
Please proceed, Representative Imbat.
Half a day, Mr. Speaker, fellow members of the Youth Congress, and those that are watching. Today, I am introducing Bill number 14-35, which is a measure focused on something simple but really important. Making sure that the materials of students use in these schools are updated and useful. And right now, Guam law does require GDOE to provide things like textbooks and supplies, but it doesn't really require them to regularly update them. So this bill aims to do just that. So students do depend on other materials that don't require textbooks, such as science lab equipment, digital tools, PE, music supplies. But many of these items in our classrooms do tend to be a little outdated, broken, and even no longer match what students need to use or expected to learn, especially with how fast technology is growing and how fast our curriculum is changing. So I'm sure that those who have attended a public school would have relate to this, and this bill just basically creates a new section in Guam law that would require GDOE to review and update these materials and every 5 to 10 years due to based on their discretion. In addition, the goal of this bill is really straightforward but simple. Again, it's just to make students have access to learning tools that will actually be useful in not only the classroom, but for college and career readiness. I respectfully ask for your support and on this bill. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Representative Imbat. On the motion by Representative Imbat, are there any representatives wishing to speak on the bill? Representative Balbastra of Haga, you're recognized.
Excuse me. Good morning, Half a day, my colleagues. I stand here to support Bill 14-35 LS by Representative Imbat regarding the update of non-textbook instructional materials and supplies every 5 to 10 years to be changed from time to time. I do support this bill as it reflects the materials and supplies up-to-date cycle, and everything is up to date with newer sources of information, new sources of technology, and newer sources of materials. Back in the day, students used textbooks every day of the week to help find resources for their school assignments. The same thing goes with supplies. When students borrow them for educational purposes and many scholastic things that have come. Students find it interesting to seek more information from books, encyclopedias, and local libraries. At this time in the future, students find it easier to use technology to look for resources like Google, AI, YouTube, and many more. Academic trends are getting popular nowadays, while students can cheat off the internet or answers from social media content. Updating new resources will help students with a greater learning experience, as it gives new information and lots of resources being taught today and the day before that throughout their academic careers. Thank you, and si Jules Masi.
Thank you, Representative Balbastro. Are there any other representatives who wish to speak on the legislation? Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero of Deredo, you are recognized.
Suzuki Masi, Mr. Speaker. I rise in strong support of Bill number 14-35 LS. I believe this is a measure that is a long time coming. Textbooks are no longer the only instructional material that is used today. And because we have a set standard already for when textbooks need to be revamped and replaced, it's very clear that there is already a acknowledgement that the educational material that we use needs to be appropriate to the current times, but also maintain a sense of usability. And I think that's really what's being addressed in this bill, and what's at the heart of this bill is a lot of the equipment that we use on a day-to-day basis for classes that are electives, for instance, PE, band, even non-elective courses, essential courses like science classes with their laboratory equipment. Those need to be replaced on a timely basis. We cannot have students continue to use materials that have been used by the students a decade before them. And so I believe that this measure is an adequate measure that would allow GDOE to set a timeline for when it is that these materials need to be replaced. And I think it also holds GDOE accountable to ensure that they're keeping an accurate inventory of these materials and making sure that they catalog when it is that they get these materials, so that we're not going on academic year to academic year with materials that are falling apart and we don't know until the start of the academic year, because at that point it's too late, right? You're unable to do procurement processes, you're unable to put in order requests for these materials because it takes months. And so this is something that needs to be done ahead of time. And by having GDOE maintain this accountability of having a catalog of what it is supplies that they need to replace on a certain time basis, I believe for this bill, it's every 5 to 10 years, that really makes sure that once we see that a material, non-instructional material or an equipment is falling apart, we replace it as soon as we can. And I understand that budget is always the restrictive, but I think that the time frame given in this bill, 5 to 10 years, is more than enough time to be able to ensure that we get these equipment and materials in a timely manner, while also not, forcing GDOE to replace every single broken microscope in one go. That's expensive, and quite frankly, it's money that we know is difficult to come by now within our government. And so I think a 5 to 10 year time frame is really adequate for this to ensure that we're maintaining accountability, but we're also being realistic about our fiscal responsibilities and our fiscal realities within these agencies. So again, I rise in strong support of this bill, and I commend the author for introducing the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak? Representative Kalimlim, I'll recognize you first. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of Bill 14-35 LS, introduced by my colleague and representative of Okudu High School. This measure is very important and necessary for our education in keeping up of how fast our education and society is advancing. As a senior in my final year of high school and a proud product of Guam's public education, throughout my time in schools, I've used textbooks that are long overdue for an update, with textbooks from the 80s and even past that with a decade ago. It is essential that we continue to update our learning methods and provide the instructional materials, especially since often there is a need for equipment. With our competitions here on island with titration, oftentimes we have to use our local resources or from the University of Guam, when our education system can do so much more to provide that. And I agree with the sentiments by Representative Guerrero. It gives ample time for accountability and for GDOE to implement and find these resources that are needed to equip our students here in Guam. I would also just ask to request to be a co-sponsor on this bill if the author permits it, and I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Representative Kalimlim of Ukuru High School. Are there any other representatives who wish to speak? Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez, I'll recognize you first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in support of this bill because although it may seem simple, it addresses an issue that is too often overlooked in our education community. Many of our teachers use their own money to buy basic classroom supplies that should be covered by the Guam Department of Education. This bill helps ease that burden and supports both our teachers and our students. For these reasons, I fully support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative Cruz. Representative De La Cruz of University of Guam, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a point of information for the bill author if they will yield to it.
Could you proceed first with your inquiry?
Yes. So my question is if there was any standardized evaluation criteria during this review process that will aid to, evaluate what is considered outdated for specific material.
Okay. Representative Imbot, do you yield?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
So to answer the question, there is already a law in regards to the textbooks themselves to be updated regularly, and that would be up to the Guam Board of Education to regulate those and to make those regulations in regards to the non-textbook instruction materials.
All right. Does that satisfy your inquiry, Representative De La Cruz? Okay. Thank you. Are there any other representatives who wish to speak on the legislation? Hearing or seeing none, I will hand it back to Representative Imbot.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, thank you for supporting this bill. Again, it's just to make sure that we have better materials for our students. And again, Mr. Speaker, I motion to make the following representatives listed as a co-sponsor to my bill. Representative Guerrero of Dorado, Representative Kalimlim of Ukudu High School, and I believe Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School.
On the motion to add the following representatives as co-sponsors to the legislation, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. You still have the floor, Representative Imbot.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to place Bill number 4-35 LS as introduced into the third reading file for voting.
Thank you, Representative Imbot. On the motion to place Bill number 14-35 LS as amended on the floor into the third reading file for voting, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Representative Charfris of Manila, you are recognized on your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of Representative Devin Santos of the University of Guam, I move to place into the third reading file Bill number 20-35 COR, introduced by Devin C. Santos, an act to add a new section 4126, Chapter 4, Title 17, Guam Code Annotated, relative to the creation and posting of Chamorro-based signs within all GDOE common areas to be known as the Chamorro Signs Act, and request to be given the opportunity to speak on the motion.
Please proceed, Representative Charfris.
Hafaday colleagues and members of the Guam Youth Congress, on behalf of Representative Devin Santos, I am proud to introduce Bill number 20-35, an act that strengthens our island's commitment to preserving and promoting the Chamorro language within our public schools. The Chamorro language, or Ifino Tsamoru, is more than words. It is an identity, heritage, and the foundation of our cultural pride. By increasing daily exposure to the language in our school environments, we give students meaningful opportunities to see, use, and connect with Ifino Tsamoru, our native tongue. This bill requires the creation and installation of Chamorro-based signage in all Guam Department of Education common areas, including hallways, cafeterias, offices, libraries, restrooms, and other applicable areas. With this measure, we are taking a meaningful step towards language revitalization, cultural preservation, and instilling pride in future generations. On behalf of Representative Santos, I respectfully ask for your support on this bill's passage, and I would also like to read some notes on behalf of Representative Santos. First, if anyone would like to become a co-sponsor of this bill, the primary author is open to all and any. The budget is $50,000 coming out of fiscal year 26-25, net unobligated excess revenue. He planned it this way because GDOE Chamorro Division and Commission do not need current funding for this project, and the funding will only be used for installations after the 6-month standard creation period. With that, I conclude.
Thank you, Representative Charfers. Any representatives wishing to speak on Bill number 20-35 COR? Representative Charfers?
Okay, again, as I stated in the introduction, I do support this bill, but more importantly, it's a subtle bill, but I believe that it's gonna have a lot greater effect on the future generations. I don't know if you guys currently know the situation with Chamorro learning in the public schools, but at least as a student of Chamorro studies at the University of Guam, we have come to the consensus that you consistently grow your knowledge of the Chamorro language from K through 8th grade. But after high school, you kind of seem to plateau, and you're just re-drilling what you learned those first 9 years. With what this bill intends to do, it doesn't stop the learning, but it also extends it past the classroom. It's a subtle bill, but I believe it's going to have a great effect on the pride of future Chamorro generations and the pride of everyone in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Charfers. Did you want to move yourself to be added as a co-sponsor?
Can I?
All right. On the motion to add Representative Anthony Charfers as a co-sponsor to the legislation, are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none, the motion is carried. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak? Representative Kalimlim of Ukuru High School, you're recognized.
Sizos Maasi, Mr. Speaker. I also rise in support of this bill. It is a subtle measure, and it is very important that we still integrate the Chamorro language because it is an official language of Guam in our education system. And having those posted signage is a subtle move, but it has a big impact in promoting the Chamorro language, even just beyond our education. It is a language of Guam, and we should take pride of it. And so I rise in support and encourage my fellow representatives to pass this bill because it's very well intentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Kalimlim. Any other representatives wishing to speak? Representative Babasho, you're recognized.
Manana si Juos, Mr. Speaker. I stand here again to support Bill 20-35, introduced by Representative Devin Z. Santos, relative to creating and posting Chamorro-based signs within all GDOE common areas. I show my support for the Chamorro Sign Act as it speaks on the integrity, honor, and prideful culture of our island of Guam amongst our people living and visiting here today. Being a Chamorro is a dedicated privilege for those who were born and raised here on the island of Guam. Even the rising of our beloved ancestors who lived and passed on this very land to this day. Promoting the Chamorro language in general does show a great way to encourage revitalization and cultural pride on Guam, especially to visitors, like the expansion of tourism, foreign national personnel, and the military buildup. The Chamorro-based signs will help students learn and ponder the language being taught by our fellow Chamorro speakers on this island. Chamorro signs show a significant impact on what Guam shall speak and the language being brought forth to life. The language shall never be gone and shall be lived, and from time to time, from generation to generation, for all eternity. Future generations will learn what language Guam speaks and will seek a better understanding and background to what's being shared back in the ancient days of the history of Guam. Thank you, and si Juos Masi.
Thank you, Representative Balbastro of Haggett. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the legislation? Hearing or seeing none, Representative Charfers, you are welcome to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And on behalf of Representative Santos, he is greatly appreciative and grateful for all the support that has been spoken out today. And Mr. Speaker, with that, I would make a motion to move I move to place Bill number 20-35 COR as introduced into the third reading file for voting.
On the motion to place the bill number 20-35 COR as amended on the floor into the third reading file for voting, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Representative Balbastra of Haggett, you are recognized at this time on your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to place into the third reading file Bill number 21-35 COR, introduced by myself, Charlie B. Bobasio, and Vice Speaker Trevor Natoigri, and amended by the Committee on Education and Youth Affairs, an act to add a new Article 3 to Chapter 3, Title 17 Guam Code annotated, relative to establishing a monthly student cleanup minute in all public high schools to promote civic responsibility and school pride, and request to be given the opportunity to speak on the motion.
Please proceed, Representative Balbastra.
Okay, Mananasijuos, Mr. Speaker, good morning and half a day, my fellow colleagues, and to the audience watching live. I stand before you today to speak on my bill, which is number 21-35 COR, an act to add a new Article 3 to Chapter 3, Title 17 Guam Code annotated, relative to establishing a monthly student cleanup minute in all public high schools to volunteer in promoting civic responsibility and school pride in the respective high schools on this island. This bill is regarding the Student Cleanup Minute Act of 2025, which aims to encourage students from public high schools to act with school pride and integrity, and to seek the proper perspective on whether we keep the campus clean or not at all. This perspective comes to mind when students really care about their schools and want them cleaned up for a safer, proper use as they learn and come to school every day of the week throughout the school year, from August to May, beginning to end. This act will allow students who wish to proceed to earn their service learning hours by participating voluntarily in the cleanup minute once a month at the end of the school day and in every on-campus events. Many campus festivities are happening in their schools throughout the year. And as usual, especially Grupo Chamorro, pep rallies, and sports, and so many more. This act will give students the voluntary opportunity to participate as it comes to play, as it builds motivation, leadership, character, civic responsibility, as mentioned, cleanliness, and it also promotes scholastic values, citizenship, excellence, and sport. High school students are among the rising generation to become future leaders, advocates, professionals, and many more who will lead to becoming better people, as integrity and pride have been fostered in this act. Health and safety, as well as cleanliness, are a priority to all public schools on Guam, building voluntary potential and keeping campuses clean and safe and sound for greater learning and a greater working environment for school personnel. Students aren't in schools every day of the week to just sit and write. They're there to help. They are there to speak. They are there to take action. The Cleanup Minute Act surely allows public high schools to have students volunteer for their school to promote a clear sense of being clean, both physically and mentally. My colleagues, I urge your heartfelt support on this very day of our Lord 2025 on Bill 21-35 COR, the Cleanup Minute Act, introduced by myself, Representative Charlie Bobasio, and my fellow co-sponsor, Vice Speaker Trevor Natoigri. Si Jules Masi, and thank you.
Thank you, Representative Balbastra of Haggett. Are there any representatives wishing to speak on the bill? On the bill. Representative Yang, you are recognized at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a point of inquiry.
Yes, why'd you proceed with your inquiry?
I would like to ask the author why it was drafted as monthly.
Does the author yield to the question?
Can you repeat that again?
So in the bill, it is drafted as the cleanup minute will be implemented monthly. Is there a reason why it would be like monthly instead of weekly or bi-monthly?
Do you yield, Representative Balbastro?
Yes, Representative Yang, my response to your question. So I put it monthly, so it gives students the opportunity. So students wouldn't have to do too much work every week to just clean up the school.
Does that satisfy your question, Representative
Thank
Yang?
you.
All right, thank you, Representative Yang. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak? Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a point of information for the author of the bill. It says the bill author mentioned that that students will be able to account for service learning hours and that this provision will be voluntary. But I wanted to ask the author why under requirements that it says that every student in the Guam Department of Education will participate if it's a voluntary activity.
Thank you, Representative Teodosio. Representative Balbastro, do you yield?
So yes, so on the bill it's as amended. So I would say that this is a voluntary activity.
Thank you, Representative Balbastro. Does that satisfy your question, Representative Teodosio? Okay. Are there any other representatives? Representative Charfris of Manila, you're recognized.
I have a point of inquiry for the author of this bill.
Thank you. Please proceed with your inquiry.
My question is, if you can you just briefly walk us through how this will actually be executed during the school day? Because my concern is we have a lot of students who are bound to take AP testing, SATs, all these other tests that, GDOE doesn't really have control over when and what time that those tests take place. So my question is really, will there be an alternative, or is this just like a one thing all the way across the board? Can you just please explain to me how it will be implemented and executed throughout the school day? Thank you.
All right. Representative Balbastro, do you yield?
So yes, I'll respond to your question, Representative Charfus. So with the Cleanup Minute Act, this is a voluntary activity again, and it will take place after school. So students were allowed to clean for about, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes of their time. And for on-campus events, they'll take about 10 to 20 minutes cleaning up of their time to be used for the student cleanup minute.
Does that satisfy your inquiry, Representative Charfers? Thank you. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak? Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero of Deredo, you are recognized.
Zeus Masi, Mr. Speaker, I have a point of inquiry as well for the author of this legislation. If this legislation states that this is a voluntary program, so if this is a voluntary program, I'd like to respectfully ask, inquire with the author of what the purpose of creating a new article in Guam law would be if this is a voluntary program that he's seeking to establish.
Thank you, Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Representative Balbastro, do you yield to the question?
Well, if I were to include it in the Guam Code annotated, this will be made for a voluntary opportunity. So this is a voluntary program for all students in public high schools of Guam. So it's only for those that wants to need to seek service learning opportunities, that needs to learn, and also as well as earning service learning hours from there for participation and helping out.
Does that satisfy your increase, Representative Guerrero?
I have a follow-up inquiry, Mr. Speaker, particularly, there, as the authors mentioned, this is a voluntary initiative. So, I'd like to inquire with the author what currently prevents schools today from organizing a voluntary cleanup minute without passing statutory law. This bill is seeking to codify this voluntary cleanup efforts. However, as the author reiterated multiple times, it's voluntary, and so I see no purpose as of this moment to include it into a statutory law. So I'd like to inquire with the speaker, or with the author of what is currently preventing schools today from organizing a cleanup effort like this in their own schools.
Representative Balbastro, do you yield to the question?
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
Yes, my question is what prevents schools today from organizing a voluntary cleanup minute without passing statutory law?
I would say because there are many opportunities for service learning, and students have been participating in a lot of them offered by teachers and by programs out there, let's say like the JRTC, GCC programs offered in the schools. And many of them have been offering programs, but there are students that hasn't been in GCC programs nor any other programs in their schools, and they're just going attending regular classes. But there are some classes that don't offer service learning opportunities. So this is where this opportunity of this cleanup minute will need to take place.
Does that satisfy your increase, Representative Guerrero?
Yes, it does, Speaker Fortuno. I just had one more, if you'll indulge me. I'd like to ask the author of the bill regarding the liability that this could pose. The bill states administrators may be held accountable for injuries. What has GDOE reviewed this liability shift, and what potential outcomes could this bring about, if the author is aware? Just because this is a particular area of concern, given that if GDOE were to be held liable for this could pose a huge risk for the department and for GovGuam agencies should students be injured while engaging in this effort.
Thank you, Representative Guerrero. Representative Balbastro, do you yield to the question?
So yes, Mr. Speaker, answer to your question, students shall not be injured in this activity. So on behalf of this, students under cognitive effects or any side effects or some sort of, let's say, diseases, or if they're under the influence, or let's say if excuse me. Let's say if they're under the disorder or a chronic or mental health condition, if they're under these conditions, they will not be allowed to participate as found under participation subsection 3306.
Sorry, could you repeat that, Representative Balbastro?
So yes, the requirements for participation here, the rules of participation is found under subsection 3306 on letter A, and it's going to be on number, letter A, and as listed here, any student with any of the following serious health conditions shall not participate in the cleanup minute as follows: respiratory diseases, which are asthma, bronchitis, sleep apnea, metabolic and endocrine disease, neurological and mental health conditions. This is the very important one: Parkinson's disease, dementia, Alzheimer's, epilepsy, migraine headaches.
Sorry, Representative Balbastro, I just want to kind of guide the discussion here. I believe the previous speaker's inquiry was in regards to liabilities that students being injured correct me if I'm making assumptions here, Representative Guerrero. Um, uh, students, the liability that is imposed on the agency should students be injured while conducting this cleanup activity. That was the inquiry, right, Representative Guerrero?
That was the inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
Okay,
Yes.
so just want to redirect the question, Representative Babasho. Could you restate your question, Representative Guerrero, so that we could clarify this?
Yes. My question was that the bill outlines that GDOE, the administrators may be held accountable for injuries. And so my inquiry was whether or not GDOE has reviewed this liability shift, and also what potential liability could GDOE be held to under this provision.
The yield, Representative Babasho.
So with that, once a student sign a waiver form, and their parents sign the waiver form as well, for those that are under 18, of course they have to be liable.
Does that satisfy your inquiry, Representative Guerrero?
Yes, it does, Mr. Speaker. I have no point of inquiries at this time. If I would be able to speak on the bill itself.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I have grave reservations with regards to this bill, particularly with the intent and purpose of this bill. As author has stated multiple times that this is a voluntary program, and so the need to codify this, especially when we have organizations like JROTC, various student-led organizations, as well as community organizations that tap on student representatives. Even Guam Youth Congress has held its own cleanup efforts within their schools, outside of the community. And so having this be codified into law, frankly speaking, I fail to see the purpose behind it, given that this is a voluntary program that students can opt or not opt to. In addition to that, the liability concern. While students do sign a liability form for this, if this is something that the school is administering, and as the provision of the bill states that the administrator may be held accountable for injuries, that does not absolve the administrator from any liability if it's codified into law that they are the ones that are held accountable for those injuries, even though we have an agreement that students and their parents sign off stating that they will not hold the school liable. Simply having that provision into this bill keeps the administrator and the school accountable. So this could pose a legal problem for GDOE should students become injured while cleaning. And then, as other representatives have brought up, there's the issue of implementation. Implementation of this will not look the same across all schools. And while a lot of things aren't, again, that ties back to the purpose of this bill as a voluntary program. And so given those concerns, given those issues, I have reservations about supporting a measure like this. I think the intent behind it, while well intended, does not written into law, written as it is right now in this bill. I think we are going to run into a lot of issues with regards to implementation, with regards to legal accountability, and with regards to the program itself, given its voluntary nature, yet it is codified into our laws. And so with that, I have my reservations and with regards to this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero of Deredo. Are there any other representatives? Representative Charfus, I think you spoke already, so I'm not going to be able, unless somebody yields their chance so that Representative Charfus can speak. Anybody can yield. Yes, Representative O.
I yield my time to him.
Yes, thank you, Representative O.
Thank you, Representative O. So, sorry, right? But it was, Representative Guerrero brought a lot of good concerns, right? And she brought a lot of questions that I do think that everyone in this body should actually take into consideration when voting on this bill. My question, not a question, right? But when I was at GW, we had something that sort of emulated what this bill is trying to do, right? We called it Adopt-A-Wing, where these clubs, right, in order for them to be a part of the actual, in order for them to be chartered as a club of the school, they had to actually consent and not hold any other party liable, right? But they had to consent to actually participating in these after-school cleanups that would not clean the whole school at one time, but clean parts of it throughout the month. So I was wondering if Representative Barbastro has actually maybe seen any programs that don't need a law, but has just talking to the school bodies directly about maybe trying to implement something like this without the codification. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Sharfers. Was that a question or was that just a statement?
It was just a statement. I'm not
Okay.
expecting him to answer it.
All right. Thank you, Representative Sharfers. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the legislation? Floor Leader Paz of GIGO, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So at this time, I'd like to use my time to also express my similar concerns and reservations with the bill as my assistant floor leader Guerrero. At the moment, the biggest, issue or concern that I have with this legislation is the fact, right, that it is a voluntary program. And my opinion is that at the school level, I feel that the principals and school administrators already have the discretion at their own schools to create a similar policy that models this bill. Secondly, the language of this bill is highly specific, and any violation of even just one of these line items can open up the Guam Department of Education to multiple lawsuits. And yeah, I would just ask. I would just ask, similar questions to the bill's main sponsor. My biggest concern is why introduce this legislation when it could be more appropriately handled at the school level. Thank you.
Do you yield to the question, Representative Balbastro?
Okay, can you repeat that again?
Floor Leader Paz, could you repeat the question?
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So my question is, although I understand the intention of this bill, why again codify this highly technical nature of bill when this is something that I feel is more appropriate to be discussed at a local, at the school level with the principal and school administrators?
Please proceed, Representative Balbastro.
Because it needs to be in the Guam Code annotated as further noticed.
Does that satisfy your inquiry, Representative? Floor Leader Paz.
At the moment, yes, and I have no further inquiries. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Floor Leader. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the legislation? Hearing or seeing none, Representative Balbastro, you are free to close on your motion.
All right, I just want to say thank you again for those respectful questions, outgoing concerns, point of information, and comments being shared on this bill 21-35, introduced by myself, Representative Bostro. It's an honor to speak on this act. I hope this bill will make great progress along the way and even take effect in all public high schools on the island, including the Guam Department of Education. It is great to speak on behalf of the Cleanup Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Balbastro. Could you please restate your motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you again for all those respectful questions, concerns.
Representative, you'll just restate your motion to place it into the third reading file for voting.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to place Bill number 21-35 COR as amended by the Committee on Education and Youth Affairs into the third reading file for voting.
Thank you, Representative Balbastro. On the motion to place Bill number 21-35 as amended into the third reading file for voting, are there any objections? There is an objection. All in favor of placing Bill number 21-35 COR as amended into the third reading file for voting, please signify your vote by raising your hand. In favor. Motion fails. Thank you, Representative Balbastro. Not Vice Speaker. Mr. Floor Leader, I'm going to recognize you at this time for the referral of resolution number 15-35 COR. Mr. Floor Leader, I'm going to recognize you at this time to entertain a motion to refer resolution number 15-35 COR back to committee as the representative, the prime sponsor is not present at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this time, I wish to make a motion to place resolution 15-35 COR now back into the committee as the resolution's main sponsor is unavailable this session.
Thank you, Mr. Floor Leader. Are there any objections? Here, seeing none, the motion's carried. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School, you are recognized at this time on your main motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to place into the third reading file bill number 26-35 COR, introduced by myself, Haley Fernandez, an act to add a new Section 5136 to Chapter 5, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, relative to requiring the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority, GURA, to improve transparency and efficiency in public housing, and Section 8, Waiting List Process, to be known as the GURA Housing Wait Time Reform Act of 2025, and request to be given the opportunity to speak on the motion.
Yeah, that squiggly line. You're going to see a whole lot of that. That means section. But yes, please proceed, Representative Fernandez.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker and fellow members of the Guam Youth Congress. This bill strives for safe and affordable housing because it is not a privilege, it is a basic necessity. Yet many families on Guam are Many families on Guam do not have this necessity, and it remains out of reach because of the year-long waiting list that GURA and Section 8 do not provide for them. This bill does not criticize GURA, nor does it place blame on its staff. Instead, it recognizes that GURA is operating under real constraints, limited housing stock, federal regulations, and growing demand, and that the people of Guam deserve greater transparency, efficiency, and accountability in how these waiting lists are managed. Families who apply for housing assistance often wait years without knowing where they stand on the list, how long the process will take, or whether progress is being made. This uncertainty creates stress, instability, and hardship, especially for senior citizens, individuals with disabilities, and families with children. I respectfully ask for your support on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Fernandez. Are there any representatives wishing to speak on the bill? Representative O of Malesu, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of this bill because, honestly, I have family members who work in the housing business, who build houses and sell them, and I think it's something that takes a really long time, and I understand this is not to blame anyone or anything, But this is something that families should not be left waiting for years at all. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed, and something that, while we're not blaming anyone, it's a way to improve like transparency and efficiency among the government, and also making sure that there are clear reports about what time is being allocated and what resources and what they're doing with their time, to make sure that this is a fair tracking. And I think this bill addresses that concern very well, and I rise in support of it.
Thank you, Representative O of Malesu. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the bill? Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a point of information for the author of the bill. The bill mentions the possibility for public and private collaboration to achieve more efficient housing development, either through funding or labor force. I wanted to ask if the bill author had any specific entities in mind for collaboration, and what this partnership would look like in pushing housing development forward for service and process for more grower applicants.
Thank you, Representative Teodosio. Representative Fernandez, do you yield?
Yes, I yield, but could you repeat your question, please?
Please restate your question, Representative Teodosio.
Yes, I just wanted to know if the bill author had any specific entities in mind for the public and private collaborations in the bill.
I do not at the moment, but I could figure that out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Representative Fernandez. Does that satisfy your inquiry, Representative? Okay, thank you. Are there any other representatives who wish to speak on the bill? Hearing or seeing none, Representative Fernandez, you're free to close on your main motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the support on this bill, and I move to... What do I say? I move to place Bill number 26-35 COR as introduced into the third reading file for voting.
Thank you, Representative Fernandez. On the motion to place Bill number 26-35 COR as introduced into the third reading file for voting, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam, you're recognizing again on your main motion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to place into the third reading file resolution number 11-35 COR, introduced by myself, Devin C. Santos, and Austin G. Fortuno, relative to expressing the full support of Imina 35 na Kongreso Manhoban Guahan for Bill number 230-38 COR, relative to designating the Guam Memorial Hospital's main administrative and patient services buildings as the Dr. Ramon Manalisay Sablan Administrative and Patient Services Buildings, and for the same designation to apply to all future Guam Memorial Hospital complexes, urging Iminatran Otsu na Legislaturan Guahan to pass this bill to represent Guam's commitment to healthcare, culture, and representation in medicine, and request to be given the opportunity to speak on the motion.
Please proceed, Representative De La Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Buenas and half a day. I am proud to introduce resolution number 11-35 COR, which aims to express the 35th Guam Youth Congress's support for Bill number 230-38 COR introduced within the Guam legislature. Bill number 230-38 COR aims to designate the Guam Memorial Hospital's administrative and patient services buildings and any future additions to these complexes as the Dr. Ramon Manalisay Sablan Administrative and Patient Services Buildings. Dr. Sablan was the first Chamorro physician in Guam's history, and he did not just serve the native Chamorro people, he supported them during dire times, such as times of war when Guam was still under Japanese occupation. He continued to serve this community, just like those today who continue to advocate and work towards a healthcare system that is accessible, affordable, and equitable. Designating the Guam Memorial Hospital's Administrative and Patient Services Division under his name would not only serve as a testament to his dedication to promoting wellness on the island, but also as a symbol of our community's commitment to good health and receiving optimal health care. This designation will also allow Guam's history and culture to shine within a sector where we are most often underrepresented, paving the way for aspiring healthcare professionals, especially our youth, to pursue these pathways. I urge my colleagues to support this resolution and the overall passing of Bill number 230-38 COR at the legislature level to ensure that our voice as the youth of Guam is well represented in both areas of health and cultural preservation. Sizuos Masi, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Dela Cruz of the University of Guam. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the resolution? On the resolution. Okay. Colleagues, we'll take a short recess.
The 35th Guam Youth Congress is now back in session from recess. Colleagues, at the moment, we are still in discussion of resolution number 11-35 COR. Are there any members wishing to speak on the resolution? Speaker Fortino, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rise today in strong support of resolution number 11-35 COR, as introduced by Representative Grace Dela Cruz, Representative Devin Santos, and myself. Mr. Speaker, this resolution is more than just placing a name on a building. It's about preserving the memory, honoring the legacy, and ensuring that future generations understand who laid the foundations of healthcare on our island. Dr. Ramon Manalisay Sablan, as the first Chamorro medical doctor, represents a historic breakthrough at a time when opportunities for Chamorro people during the American naval government in professional medicine were limited and often inaccessible. Dr. Sablan's decision to return home and serve the people of Guam reflect a lifelong commitment to community, to culture, and to healing. For the posterity, for the future generations, it's vital that our public institutions tell that story. Guam Memorial Hospital is our island's only public hospital and a place where thousands of lives intersect every year. Heck, 80% of the people in this room were likely born at the Guam Memorial Hospital. By naming its administrative and patient service buildings after Dr. Sablan, we ensure that patients, the families, that healthcare workers, and especially our peers, Guam's young people, ask the question, who was Dr. Ramon Manalisay Sablan? In asking that question, Mr. Speaker, they learned that Chamorro excellence in medicine has deep roots that goes decades back, and that representation did not begin today. It was earned through courage, through perseverance, and through service. Mr. Speaker, this designation by Bill number 230-38 COR in the 38th Guam Legislature by Speaker Blas affirms that Chamorro contributions to medicine, not just as footnotes in history, but central to our island's identity. It reminds future generations that cultural knowledge and Western medicine can coexist and that healing can be both scientific and culturally grounded. For our youth, this matters deeply, seeing a Chamorro physician honored in such a visible and permanent way, even in the future Guam Memorial Hospital, and expands what they believe is possible for themselves. Mr. Speaker, by supporting this resolution, we are choosing to memorialize values of service, resilience, cultural pride, and commitment to public health for generations that are yet to come. I strongly urge my colleagues to support this resolution. I commend the Honorable Speaker Frank Blas of the 38th Guam Legislature for introducing this bill in the 38th Guam Legislature and stand in favor of honoring Dr. Ramon Manalisay Sablan's legacy for posterity and for the future of Guam. Stu's Maasi.
Thank you, Speaker Fortuno. At this moment, would any other colleagues like to be recognized for discussion of resolution number 11-35? Okay. Seeing or hearing none, we will be back in a short recess.
The 35th Guam Youth Congress is called back to order. Thank you, Floor Leader Paz, for indulging me over there. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the resolution? On the resolution. Hearing or seeing none, Representative Dela Cruz, you're free to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would just like to thank those who shared their support for this resolution. Again, this is a testament to promoting cultural preservation and letting our history shine. Other than that, Mr. Speaker, I move to place resolution number 11-35 CR as introduced into the third reading file for voting.
On the motion to place resolution number 11-35 CUR into the third reading file for voting, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Colleagues, We are now, I'm going to go ahead and call on Representative Charfres of Maguilao on his main motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to place into the third reading file Bill number 22-35 COR, introduced by myself, Anthony Joseph Charfres, and amended by the Committee on the Judiciary and Justice, in Act to amend Section 92110 and 92111 of Chapter 92, Title 9, Guam Code Annotated, relative to imposing harsher punishments for persons convicted of vehicular homicide and vehicular homicide while driving impaired. I also request to be given the opportunity to speak on the motion.
Please proceed, Representative Charfres.
Buenas and Hafaday, colleagues. Today I stand before you to present a solution to one of our community's most pressing concerns. Before asking for your consideration and co-sponsorship, I want to walk through the key changes in this bill and address the questions that many of you may have. Section 2, Amendments to Vehicular Homicide Felony Punishment. Under current law, incarceration for a vehicular homicide shall not exceed 8 years. The proposed bill strengthens this by setting the penalty at a minimum of 8 years and a maximum of 20 years. Next, we address the revocation of driving privileges. The present law requires only a 5-year revocation period, but this bill raises this to a 10-year period, reflecting the serious responsibility that comes with operating a vehicle. The most substantial addition to the law would be restitution. Under this bill, any person convicted of vehicular homicide must pay no less than $15,000 through court order to the estate or lawful representatives of each deceased victim. This ensures that accountability extends beyond incarceration and to the families who continue to bear the emotional and financial burden. Section 3, Amendments to Vehicular Homicide while driving impaired felony punishment. The current sentencing range is 8 to 15 years. The proposed bill raises this to 15 to 30 years, establishing a stronger deterrent for those who make the reckless decision to drive impaired. Driving privilege revocation is similarly increased by an additional 12 years, reflecting the heightened danger imposed by impaired driving. Finally, the bill also mandates a minimum of $15,000 restitution payment for each deceased victim, just as in Section 2. I want to be clear. These changes were not created by myself only. I spoke with members of our community, people who live on highly trafficked areas such as the back road to Henderson, members of the island's car and off-roading community, families who have had vehicles actually skid out into their yards, and residents who have seen firsthand the consequences of negligent driving. Their voices are reflected in this legislation. They told me that current penalties are simply not strong enough to deter the select few individuals who repeatedly put others at risk. These increased penalties are not meant to be punitive for the sake of punishment. They serve two main purposes: deterrence and community representation. Our people are asking for stronger safeguards, and it is our responsibility to listen. And to help guide us in our upcoming vote, I want to point out that even with these increases, these penalties are still nowhere near the harshest in the United States and its territories. As for restitution, we must remember that when a life is lost on one of our roads, that the tragedy does not end at the scene. Some victims die instantly, memorialized by the roadside crosses we pass every day. Others fight for their lives in a hospital before succumbing to their injuries. In every case, families are left with medical bills, funeral costs, and the lifelong pain of losing someone they loved. This bill recognizes those families, it acknowledges their burden, and it demands accountability for those who had caused that loss. Let me briefly restate the intent behind this bill. Yes, this bill aims to deter vehicular homicide, but more importantly, it stands for the hardworking families of our island. It is here to protect those who do everything right, those who work hard, care for their families, and try every day to make our island a safer place. It is here to send a clear message to reckless drivers and to anyone who would treat our roads like their own private racetrack. Our island is not yours to endanger. Our roads are not your playgrounds for negligence. This island is the home of countless honest, humble, and well-deserving families whose safety must come first. The longer we wait to pass this legislation that our community has repeatedly asked for, the more we risk sending the wrong message of, I haven't been personally affected, so the problem doesn't need addressing. But the truth is, we have all been affected personally. Parents are afraid to let their children play outside. Families are choosing to leave the island because they no longer feel safe. Neighbors lie awake wondering when, not if, the next tragedy will strike. Colleagues, this legislation is not about punishment alone. It is about responsibility. It is about deterrence. It is about community safety. And above all, it is about compassion for the families who deserve justice and protection from a preventable tragedy. So today, I'm not asking you to stand with me. I am asking you to stand with your community. The very people who trusted us to put us in this body and trust us to act when an action is needed. Vote yes on this bill. And let's move it one step closer to becoming law and one step closer to making our island safer for every family who calls this island home. And I'm gonna speak candidly on this. The title is long, but candidly, I was gonna name this bill the Stupid Prize Act, because if you're gonna play a stupid game, you're gonna win the stupid prize. Okay, so I'm glad I got a couple laughs, okay? But again, seriousness of this bill. Thank you.
That would have made an interesting bill title, Representative Charfus. Thank you for that. Are there any representatives wishing to speak? Representative O. Malesu, you're recognized.
I rise in support of Bill 22-35. As a new driver on Guam roads, I think this reinforces the serious responsibility that comes with driving. And that's the first thing that we learn when we get our license, is that one reckless or impaired decision can permanently change the lives of not only ours, but the innocent families who are affected by it. This bill sends a clear message that that anything that people do on the road, especially caused by impaired or negligent driving, is not a mistake, but a tragedy that can be preventable. And it deserves the consequences proportionate to the harm caused. So I think that stronger penalties do not imitate responsible drivers. They encourage safer habits, deter dangerous behaviors, and remind everyone that driving is a privilege tied to accountability. It is not something that is just given to you. Most importantly, this legislation honors the value of human life, and I think it really shows the commitment for justice for the victims and their families in these cases. And for this reason, I urge my colleagues to support Bill 22-35, and I ask the author of this bill if I could be a co-sponsor.
Thank you, Representative O. Representative Charfus.
Yes, thank you, Representative O, and I do welcome your co-sponsorship, as well as all the other members in this body who would like to be a co-sponsor.
Okay. So I guess we'll reserve until he does his closing. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the bill? Representative Kodayampakal of Tumuning Tuman Harmon, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in full support of this bill, and I commend the author for taking a strong stance on this serious issue. Vehicular homicide, especially when caused by impaired driving, is a tragedy that devastates families and our community. This bill imposes harsher punishments for those convicted, sending a clear message that reckless and impaired driving will not be tolerated. It prioritizes justice for victims and helps deter dangerous behavior on our roads. And I thank the author for protecting public safety, and I proudly support this measure, and I also ask to be a co-sponsor of this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Kodayampakal. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the bill? Representative Dela Cruz of the University of Guam, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a point of inquiry for the bill author.
Please proceed.
I just wanted to ask if there was any local statistics on how effective increased fines and incarceration are in deterring vehicular homicide, or even just overall motor vehicle accidents as a whole.
Representative Charfus, do you yield to the question? Yes. Please proceed.
Thank you, Representative Dela Cruz. So locally, I could not find any statistics to actually support that harsher punishments do reduce crime. But when I was doing my research, I looked at things internationally, and there are some jurisdictions like South Korea, a lot of Nordic states, right, that do see that creating harsher punishments is actually an effective way. Again, there's no direct cause and effect line that is going through, but just generally, a harsher punishment does reduce the actual crimes that it's there to address or deter. I hope this answers your question and a lot of other concerns in the body.
Thank you, Representative Charfus. Does that satisfy your inquiry? Thank you, Representative De La Cruz. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the bill? On the bill. Hearing or seeing none, Representative Charfus, you're free to close.
Sizulas Masi, Mr. Speaker. Again, thank you all for the support and thank you for the concerns. Yeah, thank you very much. And if you guys wouldn't mind, I would like to make a motion to add every member present as a co-sponsor of this bill. But I would also like to extend deep gratitude to Nicole Guerrero for actually allowing me to work with her committee to make an amended bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Charfus. On a motion to add all representatives present and voting as co-sponsors on the bill, are there any objections? There is an objection. All in favor of having all members present and voting to be added as co-sponsors on the bill, please signify your vote in favor by raising your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion passes. All right, colleagues. Representative Charfus, will you restate your motion to close and place into the third reading?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to place into the third reading file Bill number 22-35 COR, introduced by myself and amended by the Committee on the Judiciary and Justice, which is an act to amend Section 92110 and 92111 of Chapter 92, Title 9, Guam Code Annotated, relative to imposing harsher punishments for persons convicted of vehicular homicide and vehicular homicide while driving impaired.
Thank you, Representative Charfus. Before I entertain your motion, to the ones who objected, did you wish to make a motion for your names to be struck out as a co-sponsor? I'm going to need you to move that.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to make a motion for the representatives who do not wish to put their name as a co-sponsor in the bill introduced by Mr. Charfros, just to be entertained.
Okay, thank you. On the motion, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. On the motion by Representative Charfus to place the bill into the third reading file for voting, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. All right, colleagues, we're almost there. Representative Liu of Dededo, you're recognized on your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to place into the third reading file Bill number 6-35 COR, introduced by myself, Yaxing Liu, an act to add a new Article 10 to Chapter 3, Title 16, Guam Code Annotated, relative to improving traffic safety around and in school zones by requiring the installation of crosswalk lights and speed bumps near public and private schools, to be known as the School Zone Safety Act of 2025.
Please proceed, Representative Liu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, Mr. Speaker and my fellow colleagues. This bill was written in one goal in mind, to protect the safety of lives of our students. Every day, hundreds of children walk across Guam using bikes or are dropped off in areas that lack proper traffic control or visibility. Too often, cars speed through school zones or fail to notice pedestrians crossing. This bill aims to fix that by ensuring that every school zone has clear safety measures in place, such as flashing crosswalk lights or speed bumps, to slow down vehicles and alert drivers that children are nearby. Through this act, schools should assess the current conditions, install the necessary safety features, and maintain them annually. This not only promotes safer streets, but also builds awareness and accountability among all drivers. Mr. Speaker, I humbly ask my colleagues for their support on Bill number 6-35 COR so that together on behalf of the youth of Guam, we can create safer environments for every student, ensuring that no one's journey to school ever puts their life at risk. Let us take action now to make our school zones a place of safety, not danger. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Liu of Dededo. Are there any representatives wishing to speak on the bill? On the bill. Hearing or see? Okay, Representative, Floor Leader Paz of Jigo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for recognizing me. So I rise in support of this bill as discussed in the Committee of Environment, Utilities, and Transportation. This bill calls attention to an issue that we have long known has been persistent and concerns the school children of Guam. I guess I do have a point of inquiry, though, if the main sponsor is open to it. I know that the writing of the bill specifies that any monies may be used, like highway grants or from the general fund. I just wanted to inquire again with the main sponsor if she's identified any other special fundings that could be used towards this project.
Thank you, Mr. Floor Leader. Do you yield, Representative Liu?
Thank you, Representative Paz, for the question. The funding will primarily come from the existing Department of Public Works appropriation for traffic safety and infrastructure. Additionally, the bill allows the Department of Public Works to seek federal grants related to school safety. The costs for speed bumps and crosswalk lights are relatively modest compared to the value of preventing injuries or fatalities. This bill ensures that we prioritize safety using resources already available. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Liu. Does that satisfy your inquiry, Representative Paz?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Poblete of Chalampago Ardot, you're recognized.
Good morning. Point of inquiry. Does this measure include charter schools if the author is available to answer the question?
Do you yield to the question, Representative Liu?
Yes. Thank you for the question. This does yield to any type of schools on Guam, including charter schools. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Continue, Representative Poblete.
Excuse me, but what I'm reading from here, it says each school zone on page 2, line B, whether public or private. So does public or private count as a charter school?
Thank you for the notice in my bill. I do agree that it should be public and private, but I would like to add charter school in my bill as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Liu. Representative Poblete, you still have the floor.
Thank you very much for that amendment, and I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other representative? Okay, Representative Guerrero, you're recognized.
Point of information, Mr. Speaker. I do believe the language of the original language of the bill that the author intended, public and private school, would encompass charter schools. There are charter schools that currently serve as public schools, and there are that serve as private. But if the author wishes to amend her bill to reflect charter schools specifically, I think that would be sufficient, though I think the current language in the bill right now indicates that charter schools would qualify under this, but just to offer it for the body, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Assistant Floor Leader. It has been offered to the body. Are there any representatives wishing to speak on the bill? On the bill. Hearing our Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School, you're recognized.
Good morning, colleagues. Just a point of inquiry for the author. So I see here it says to improve traffic safety around in school zones by requiring installation of crosswalk lights and speed bumps near public private schools. So like, how would they go about that? around the schools, like say Ontalon, JFK, and St. John's, as those are, oh, and Father Dueñas, as those are all like main road. My question is, how would they go about that?
Thank you, Representative Suba. Do you yield to the question, Representative Liu?
Yes, thank you for the question. The Department of Public Works, in coordination with the different schools in Guam, shall conduct a comprehensive safety assessment of all school zones to identify areas that require additional crosswalk lights or speed bumps. Each school zone, whether private or public, shall include at least one clearly marked pedestrian walking equipment with either flashing crosswalk warning lights or raised speed bumps are designed to reduce vehicle speeds to 15 miles per hour or less within the school zone. The Department of Public Works shall conduct annual maintenance and inspection of all installed crosswalk lights and speed bumps to ensure functionality and safety compliance. Funding for the implementation and maintenance of this act shall be drawn from existing traffic safety funds. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Liu. Representative Suba, does that satisfy your question?
Yes, it does.
Thank you, Representative Suba. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak? Representative Cruz of, yes, you're the other Cruz. Representative Cruz of Father Dueñas Memorial School. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a point of inquiry for the author of this bill.
Please proceed with your inquiry.
Thank you. Regarding the bill, considering there's about 70 to 80 schools across Guam, and that the installation of the speed bumps and the traffic lights include time to installate them, was there like a priority schedule considering like how it might affect traffic? Is there like so to restate my question, is there a priority for which schools would first be addressed?
Thank you, Representative Cruz. Representative Liu, do you yield to the question?
Yes. Could you restate the question?
Is there a priority schedule for the schools that will first be addressed by the bill?
Yes. The installation of the safety measures shall be completed within 18 months from the attachment of this act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Does that satisfy your question, Representative Cruz?
Not quite. If I may proceed.
Do you have a follow-up question?
With my question about the priority schedule, is there like any evaluation about which schools exactly would be completed first? Like whether it be a public school first or a private school first, or if it's just going to be like alphabetically, let's say?
Thank you, Representative Cruz. Representative Liu, do you yield?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As of right now, I do plan to make the order for which school would be inspected first. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Cruz, does that satisfy your question?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Representative Cruz. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the bill? On the bill. All right. Before I recognize Representative Liu, just want to speak on the parliamentary procedure. Ideas for amendments are being raised on the floor right now, but amendments are not being posed or moved. And there are acknowledgments that amendments need to be made on the bill. And so just for the awareness of the body, right? The bill is still written as it's been introduced, and you guys are making amendments on the floor. Without properly moving those amendments that you want to see in the bill, it's not going to be included in the final version of the bill. So you actually have to move those specific language that you want to see in the bill to be included in the bill. Okay? Just for the awareness of the body. At this time, I'm going to recognize Representative Liu to close on her bill as introduced.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank all my fellow colleagues who spoke on this bill, number 6-35. I now move to place bill number 6-35, COR as introduced, into the third reading file for voting. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Liu. On the motion to place the bill into the third reading file as introduced, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. All right, I will go ahead and recognize the next representative. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to place into the third reading file Bill number 25-35 COR, introduced by myself, Kirsten Joy V. Cruz, an act to add a new subsection 54110 to Chapter 54, Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to establishing the Guam Pedestrian Safety and Walkway Improvement Act of 2025, requiring the Department of Public Works to identify, prioritize, and construct sidewalks in high-risk pedestrian areas, especially near schools and bus stops. And I request to be given the opportunity to speak on the motion.
Please proceed, Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to introduce this bill known as the Guam Pedestrian Safety and Walkway Act of 2025, introduced by myself, Kirsten Joy V. Cruz. This bill addresses a real problem on our island, the lack of safe and accessible sidewalks. Every day, students walking to school, families traveling to villages, and tourists navigating unfamiliar areas face unnecessary dangers simply because basic pedestrian infrastructure is missing. This legislation requires the Department of Public Works to create a sidewalk priority plan within 6 months of enactment. The plan will identify areas most in need of sidewalk, with special focus on school zones lacking sidewalks, bus stops, tourist areas, and roads with a history of pedestrian accidents. This bill also ensures that once these areas are identified, DPW must begin actual sidewalk construction within 1 year. And moving forward, any new or major road project must include at least one safe pedestrian walkway as part of the design. Mr. Speaker, this bill is about preventing accidents before they happen, improving walkability in our communities, and supporting healthier lifestyles, and strengthening Guam's reputation as a safe and welcoming destination for all visitors. For these reasons, I humbly ask for the body's support in supporting this pedestrian safety bill.
Thank you, Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Are there any representatives wishing to speak on the bill? Hearing or seeing none, Representative Cruz, you're free to close on your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to place Bill number 25-35 COR as introduced into the third reading file for voting.
Thank you, Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez. On the motion to place Bill number 25-35 COR as introduced into the third reading file for voting, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam, you want to speak again? You are recognized at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of Representative Santos of the University of Guam, I move to place into the third reading file resolution number 10-35 COR as introduced by Devin C. Santos relative to expressing strong support of Iminachentay na Kongresan Manhobang Guahan or the 35th Guam Youth Congress to Bill number 218-38 COR relative to mandating the official use of the spelling Samoru, CHAMORU in place of Chamorro, which is CHAMORRO, in Guam law, policy, and public documents, and to require implementation of this change by all government agencies and public education institutions, and request to be given the opportunity to speak on the motion.
Please proceed, Representative De La Cruz.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hafa-day colleagues, on behalf of Representative Devin Santos, I rise to introduce resolution number 10-35, expressing the strong support for Bill number 218-38, originally introduced within the 38th Guam Legislature by Senator Shelley Calvo. This bill ensures the correct and standardized spelling of Tsamoru is used across all Guam laws, policies, and public documents. The correct orthography was adopted in 1983, and it reflects our identity, our heritage, and our cultural dignity. As the voice of Guam's youth, it is our responsibility to advocate for the preservation and accuracy of our language. With this resolution, Representative Santos aims to affirm our commitment to protecting and uplifting Ifi Nutsamoru, and we urge the legislature to pass this culturally relevant measure. He is also open to adding anyone as co-sponsors should they be interested in expressing their support through that route. With that being said, that concludes my opening statement. Situs Masi, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Dela Cruz. Are there any representatives wishing to speak on the resolution? On the resolution. Representative Charfers of Manila, you're recognized.
Yeah, I support this bill, right? Very simply. I'm making a motion to add myself as a co-sponsor of this bill.
Thank you, Representative Charfers. On the motion to add Representative Charfers as a co-sponsor of the resolution, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion's carried. Are there any other representatives wishing? Representative Suba, you're recognized at this time.
I also rise in support of this bill, and I would also ask to be added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you, Representative Suba. On the motion to add Representative Suba as a co-sponsor onto the resolution, are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none, the motion is carried. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the resolution? Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School, you're recognized.
I rise in support of this bill, and I would also like to make a motion to be added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you. On the motion to add Representative Munoz as a co-sponsor of the resolution, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the resolution? On the resolution. Hearing or seeing none, Representative Dela Cruz, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Though Representative Santos is not here, I am sure he is appreciative of all the support from our colleagues, and I will let him know that his resolution did well on the floor so far. But other than that, Mr. Speaker, I move to place resolution number 10-35 COR into the third reading file as introduced for voting.
On the motion by Representative Dela Cruz to place resolution number 10-35 COR as amended on the floor into the third reading file for voting. Are there any objections? Here, seeing none, the motion is carried. We have reached the end. Floor Leader Paz of Jigo, you are recognized at this time on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move to place into the third reading file Bill number 24-35 COR, introduced by myself, Nathan I. Paz, and to add a new subsection 24414 to Article 4, Chapter 24, Title 11 of the Guam Code Annotated, to add a new subsection 58110-1 to Article 1, Chapter 58, Title 12 of the GCA, and to amend subsections 58203, Article 2, Chapter 58, Title 12, GCA, relative to implementing property tax abatement incentives to promote the implementation of green roofs and requiring a percentage of roofing areas for green roofs for certain qualifying certificate and hotel developments. And I kindly request the opportunity to speak on the motion.
Please proceed, Floor Leader Paz.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, colleagues, my name is Representative Nathan Paz, and I am introducing Bill number 24-35 relative to promoting the development of green roofs via property tax abatement incentives. So, the intention of this bill is that property owners who develop their rooftops to contain 50% of coverage of either vegetation, rooftop gardens, or solar panels shall be entitled to a 1-year property tax abatement, and with hotels, it would be up to 75%. Green roofs are a form of environmentally friendly infrastructure that offers several recognized benefits, including cooling effects, reducing the urban heat effect, improving stormwater runoff quality, and providing cleaner air. This bill models other cities with similar developments, including the city of Portland, Oregon. This bill was previously introduced in the 34th Guam Youth Congress and was subsequently named Bill number 110-37, but it was unable to be heard in a general session. Thank you, and I kindly ask for your support for a greener and more sustainable Guam, and I'm open to any questions that my colleagues may have.
Thank you, Mr. Floor Leader. Any representatives wishing to speak on Bill number 24-35 COR on the bill? Hearing or seeing none. Mr. Floor Leader, you're free to close.
Okay. So at this time, since there's no other testimony, I'd like to take the moment to also speak further on the bill. One drawback that was considered regarding this bill was the potential to reduce GovGuam's budget, as the property tax abatement means that a property owner would not have to pay their property tax for 1 year. A specific dollar amount could not be provided at the time because in 2023, the Guam Economic Development Authority was unable to respond for comment. However, I do ask our colleagues to consider, what are the costs that we're willing to make in order to support our vision for a healthier future and a greener, more sustainable Guam. Recently, as well, over the past 2 years, Guam has shifted towards a more sustainable development with Guam Power Authority's commitment to renewable energy by the year 2045 and the current opposition that we're seeing with deep sea mining in Guam's deep waters. Under a new leadership in the legislature and a political climate which I hope is more supportive of our local environment, I hope to successfully reintroduce this bill and see its passage through the legislature. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Floor Leader. Would you please restate your motion?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For my motion, I move to place Bill number 24-35 COR as introduced into the third reading file for voting.
On the motion to place Bill number 24-35 COR as introduced into the third reading file for voting, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Are there any representatives who wish to make a motion? Representative Charfus, did you mention you had a motion? Okay. Yes, Representative Charfus of Manila, you're recognized at this time.
I would like to make a motion to refer the Chamorro Signs Act back to the second reading file and have any representatives who wish to speak or make a motion on the bill be able to do so if they weren't able to do in the initial.
Thank you, Representative Charfus. On the motion to place Bill number 20-35 COR back into the second reading file for the consideration of additional co-sponsors, are there any objections? Is that an objection? Colleagues, we'll take a short recess. '35th Guam Youth Congress is called back to order. Colleagues, we are on the motion made by Representative Charfus to place Bill number 20-35 COR back into the second reading file for the consideration of additional co-sponsors on the bill. Are there any objections to that motion? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. We are now on Bill number 20-35 COR. Are there any representatives wishing to speak on the bill? Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you. I rise in support of the Chamorro Signs Act, and I ask to be added on as a co-sponsor.
All right. On the motion by Representative Suba to be added on as a co-sponsor to Bill number 20-35 COR, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak on the bill? Bill number 20-35 COR. Here, seeing none, Representative Charfers, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I make a motion to place the bill back into the third reading file for voting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Charfers. On the motion to place Bill number 20-35 COR as amended and further amended on the floor into the third reading file for voting, are there any objections? Here, seeing none, the motion is carried. Colleagues, that exhausts all items under agenda item number 15, the second reading file. We are now on agenda item number 16, the second roll call. Mr. Acting Clerk, please proceed with the second roll call.
Representative Al Cairo from Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Al Cairo present. Vice Speaker Otoigwe of Tumaning Tuman and Harmon excused. Representative Babasro of Hagat. Representative Babasro present. Representative Blas of Charlampago Ordet. Representative Blas present. Representative Kalumnum of Okudu High School. Representative Kalumnum excused. Representative Cha Momong Toto Maiti. Representative Cha absent. Representative Charperos of Mangilao. Representative Charperos present. Representative Cruz of Father Duenas Memorial School. Representative Cruz present. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz present. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative De La Cruz present. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez present. Speaker Fortuno of Dedido. Speaker Fortuno present. Assistant Floor Leader Leon Guerrero of Dedido. Assistant Floor Leader Leon Guerrero present. Representative Hoffman of Sinihaya. Representative Hoffman present. Representative Imbat of Okudu High School. Representative Imbat absent. Representative Kim of Harvest Christian Academy present. Representative Kim of Harvest Christian Academy absent. Representative Kodian Plako. Representative Imbat is present. Representative Kodian Plako present. Representative Leon Guerrero of Academy of Our Lady of Guam. Representative Leon Guerrero is absent. Representative Leo of Dedido. Representative Leo present. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz present. Representative N.G. of Zotnya. Representative N.G. absent. Representative O. Meleso. Representative O. present. Floor Leader Paz of Chico. Floor Leader Paz present. Representative Popoletti of Chalampago Ordet. Representative Popoletti present. Representative Pozan of Barragata. Representative Pozan present. Representative Rosario Business and Technology again. Representative Rosario present. Representative Santos of Tumaning Tuman and Harmon. Representative Santos absent. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba present. Representative Su of St. John's School. Representative Su present. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio present. Representative Yang of Mangilao. Representative Yang present. Mr. Speaker, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Clerk. Colleagues, I will give the body a very short recess to allow the Acting Clerk to prepare for the consideration of the daily file and for the body to speak in caucus as we consider the daily file. We will take a short recess. Mina 35 na Congressman Hupeng Guahan, the 35th Guam Youth Congress is called back to order. Colleagues, we are now on agenda item number 17, the consideration of the daily file. We will now proceed with the third reading file. Mr. Acting Clerk, please read the title for Bill number 14-35 COR.
Bill number 14-35 Core, introduced by Micah Janelle Imbot and further amended on the floor, is an act to add a new section 4106.2 to Article 1, Chapter 4 of the Guam Title 17 of the Guam Code annotated relative to requiring the Guam Department of Education to update non-textbook instructional materials and supplies every 5 to 10 years.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Representative Alcairo, Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Alcairo, aye. Representative Babastro, Hagat. Representative Babastro, aye. Representative Blas of Chalampago, Order. Representative Blas, aye. Representative Charfaros of Manila. Representative Charfaros, aye. Representative Cruz of Father Dueñas Memorial School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative De La Cruz, aye. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez, aye. Speaker Fortuno of Dedido. Speaker Fortuno, aye. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero of Dedido. Assistant Floor Leader, aye. Representative Hoffman of Sinihanya. Representative Hoffman, aye. Representative Imba of Okudu High School. Representative Imba, aye. Representative Codian Placo of Tumaning Tuman Harmon. Representative Codian Placo, aye. Representative Liu of Dedido. Representative Liu, aye. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz, aye. Representative O of Meleso. Representative O of Meleso. Representative O, aye. Floor Leader Paz of Jigo. Floor Leader Paz, aye. Representative Popoletti of Chalampago, Order. Representative Popoletti, aye. Representative Pozan of Barragata. Representative Pozan, aye. Representative Rosario of Business and Technology Academy. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba, aye. Representative Su of St. John's School. Representative Su, aye. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio, aye. Representative Yang of Mingilao. Representative Yang of Mingilao, aye.
Colleagues, Bill number 14-35 received 24 ayes, 0 nays, 8 excused. Bill number 14-35 COR is duly passed by this body. Congratulations, Representative Imbot. Mr. Acting Clerk, please read the title for Bill number 20-35 COR.
Bill number 20-35 COR Core, introduced by Devin C. Santos and further amended on the floor, is an act to add a new section 4126, Chapter 4, Title 17 of the Guam Code annotated relative to the creation and posting of Chamorro-based signs within all GDOE common areas to be known as the Chamorro Sign Act.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Representative Alcairo of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Alcairo, aye. Representative Babastro of Hagat. Representative Babastro, aye. Representative Blas of Chalampago, Order. Representative Blas, aye. Representative Charfaros of Mingilao. Representative Charfaros, aye. Representative Cruz of Father Dueñas Memorial School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative De La Cruz, aye. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez, aye. Speaker Fortuno of Dedido. Speaker Fortuno, aye. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Assistant Floor Leader Leon Guerrero, aye. Representative Hoffman of Sinihanya. Representative Hoffman, aye. Representative Imba of Okuda High School. Representative Imba, aye. Representative Codian Placo of Tamuning Tumon and Harmon. Representative Codian Placo, aye. Representative Liu of Dedido. Representative Liu of Didio, aye. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz, aye. Representative O of Malesso. Representative O, aye. Floor Leader Paz of Jigo. Floor Leader Paz, aye. Representative Popoletti of Chalampago Order. Representative Popoletti, aye. Representative Pozan of Barragata. Representative Pozan of Barragata, aye. Representative Rosario of Business and Technology Academy. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba, aye. Representative Su of St. John's School. Representative Su, aye. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio, aye. Representative Yang of Mingilao. Representative Yang, aye.
Colleagues, Bill number 20-35 COR received 24 ayes, 0 nays, 8 excused. Bill number 20-35 COR is duly passed by this body. Congratulations, Representative Santos, wherever he is. Mr. Acting Clerk, please read the title for Bill number 26-35.
Bill number 26-35, Core, introduced by Haley Fernandez, is an act that adds Section 5136 to Chapter 5, Title 12 of the Guam Code Annotated, relative to requiring the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority to improve transparency and efficiency in the public housing and Section 8 waiting list process, to be known as the Gura Housing Wait Time Reform Act of 2025.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Representative Alcaro of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Alcaro, aye. Representative Babastro of Hagat. Representative Babastro, aye. Representative Blas of Chalampago Order. Representative Blas, aye. Representative Charfaros of Mangilao. Representative Charfaros, aye. Representative Cruz of Father Duenas Memorial School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative De La Cruz, aye. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez, aye. Speaker Fortuno of Dedido. Speaker Fortuno, aye. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero, aye. Representative Hoffman of Sinuhanya. Representative Hoffman, aye. Representative Imbat of Okudu High School. Representative Imbat, aye. Representative Codian Placao of Tamaning Tumanin Harmon. Representative Codian Placao, aye. Representative Munoz, or Liu, Liu of Dedido. Representative Liu, aye. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz, aye. Representative O of Malesso. Representative O, aye. Floor Leader Paz. Floor Leader Paz, aye. Representative Popoletti of Chalampago Order. Representative Popoletti, aye. Representative Pozan of Barragata. Representative Pozan, aye. Representative Rosario of Business and Technology Academy. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba, aye. Representative Su of St. John's School. Representative Su, aye. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio, aye. Representative Yang of Mangilao. Representative Yang, aye.
Colleagues, Bill number 26-35 COR received 24 ayes, 0 nays, 8 excused. Bill number 26-35 COR is duly passed by this body. Congratulations, Representative Fernandez. Mr. Acting Clerk, please read the title for Resolution number 11-35 COR.
Resolution number 11-35 Core, introduced by Grace Ann S. De La Cruz, Devin C. Santos, and Austin G. Fortuno, is relative to expressing the full support of Iminay 35 na Congresion Manhoban Guahan for Bill number 230-38 Core, relative to designating the Guam Memorial Hospital's main administrative and patient service buildings as the Dr. Raymond Manalise Sablan Administrative and Patient Service Buildings, and for the same designation to apply to all future Guam Memorial Hospital complexes, urging Imenay Trento Ocho na Lihelataran Guahan to pass this bill to represent Guam's commitment to healthcare culture and representation in medicine.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Representative Alcaro, Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Alcairo, aye. Representative Babashiro Hagat. Representative Babashiro, aye. Representative Blas of Chalampago ordered. Representative Blas, aye. Representative Charfros of Minginlao. Representative Charfros, aye. Representative Cruz of Father Duenas Memorial School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative De La Cruz, aye. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez, aye. Speaker Fortuno Dedio. Speaker Fortuno, aye. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero, aye. Representative Hoffman of Sinahanya. Representative Hoffman, aye. Representative Imbat of Okudu High School. Representative Imbat, aye. Representative Kodiam Placo of Tumaning Harmon.
Mr. Floor Leader, can I entertain a motion to excuse Representative Koda Yampakal for voting?
Mr. Speaker, at this time, I would like to make a motion to excuse Representative Cody Yamplako from voting.
On the motion, are there any objections? Hearing seeing none, the motion is carried.
Representative Kodiam Placo excused. Representative Liu of Dedido. Representative Liu, aye. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz, aye. Representative O. Meleso. Representative O, aye. Floor Leader Paz. Floor Leader Paz, aye. Representative Poboletti of Chalampago ordered. Representative Poboletti, aye. Representative Pozan of Barragata. Representative Pozan, aye. Representative Rosario of Business and Technology Academy. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba, aye. Representative Su of St. John's School. Representative Su, aye. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio, aye. Representative Yang of Manilao. Representative Yang, aye.
Colleagues, resolution number 11-35 COR received 23 ayes, 0 nays, 9 excused. Resolution number 11-35 COR is duly passed by this body. Congratulations, Representative De La Cruz. Mr. Acting Clerk, please read the title for Bill number 22-35 COR.
Bill number 22-35 COR, introduced by Anthony Joseph E. Charfaros and amended by the Committee on the Judiciary and Justice, and further amended on the floor, is an act to amend sections 92110 and section 92111 of Chapter 92, Title 9 of the Guam Code annotated relative to imposing harsher punishments for persons convicted of vehicular homicide and vehicular homicide while driving impaired.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Representative Alcairo of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Alcairo, aye. Representative Babashiro Pagat. Representative Babashiro, aye. Representative Blas of Chalampago ordered. Representative Blas, aye. Representative Charfros of Mingilao. Representative Charfros, aye. Representative Cruz of Father Duenas Memorial School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative De La Cruz, aye. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez, aye. Speaker Fortuno Derrido. Speaker Fortuno, aye. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Assistant Floor Leader, aye. Representative Hoffman of Sinahanya. Representative Hoffman, aye. Representative Imbat of Okudu High School. Representative Imbat, aye. Representative Kodiam Placo of Tumaning and Harmon, excused. Representative Leon Guerrero of Academy of Our Lady of Liu of Derrido. Representative Liu, aye. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz, aye. Representative O. Meleso.
Mr. Floor Leader, you're recognized on your motion.
Mr. Speaker, at this time, I make a motion to excuse Representative O from voting.
On the motion, are there any objections? Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried.
Representative O, excused. Floor Leader Paz. Floor Leader Paz, aye. Representative Poboletti of Chalampago in order. Representative Poboletti, aye. Representative Pozan of Barragata. Representative Pozan, aye. Representative Rosario of Business and Technology. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Santos of Tamuning Tuman Harmon. Oh, excuse me. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba, aye. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio, aye. Representative Yang of Mangilao. Representative Yang, aye. Representative So of St. John's. Representative So, aye.
Colleagues, Bill number 22-35 CUR received 22 ayes, 0 nays, 10 excused. Bill number 22-35 COR is duly passed by this body. Congratulations, Representative Charfris. Mr. Acting Clerk, please read the title for Bill number 6-35 COR.
Bill number 6-35 core introduced by Yaxin Liu is an act to add a new Article 10 to Chapter 3, Title 16 of the Guam Code Annotated relative to improving traffic safety around and in school zones by requiring the installation of crosswalk lights and speed bumps near public and private schools to be known as the School Zone Safety Act of 2025.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Representative Alcairo of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Alcairo, aye. Representative Babashro of Hagat. Representative Babashro, aye. Representative Charfros of Manila, or sorry, Blas of Chalampaga Order. Representative Blas, aye. Representative Charfros of Manila. Representative Charfros, aye. Representative Cruz of Father Dueñas Memorial School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative De La Cruz, aye. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez, aye. Speaker Fortuno of Derrida. Speaker Fortuno of Derrida, pass. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero, aye. Representative Hoffman of Sinihanya. Representative Hoffman, aye. Representative Imbat of Okudu High School. Representative Imbat, aye. Representative Kodian Plakao, excuse. Representative Liu of Derrida. Representative Liu, aye. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz, aye. Representative O. Molesto, excuse. Floor Leader Paz. Floor Leader Paz, aye. Representative Pobeletti of Chalampaga Order. Representative pass. Representative excuse me. Representative Pobeletti, pass. Representative Puzon of Barragata. Representative Puzon, aye. Representative Rosario, Business and Technology. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba, pass. Representative Sa of St. John's School. Representative Sa, aye. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio, aye. Representative Yang of Mangilao. Representative Yang, aye. Speaker Fortuno of Derrida. Speaker Fortuno of Derrida, pass. Representative Suba. Representative Suba, pass. Representative Pobeletti. Representative Pobeletti, pass. Speaker Fortuno of Derrida. Nay. Speaker Fortuno, nay. Representative Pobeletti of Chalampaga Order. Representative Pobeletti, aye. Representative Suba. Representative Suba, nay.
Colleagues, Bill number 6-35 COR received 20 ayes, 2 nays, 10 excused. Bill number 6-35 COR is duly passed by this body. Congratulations, Representative Liu. Mr. Acting Clerk, please read the title for Bill number 25-35 COR.
Bill number 25-35 Core, introduced by Kristen Joy v. Cruz, is an act to add a new section 54110 to Chapter 54, Title 5 of the Guam Code Annotated relative to establishing the Guam Pedestrian Safety and Walkway Improvement Act of 2025, requiring the Department of Public Works to identify, prioritize, and construct sidewalks in high-risk pedestrian areas, especially near schools and bus stops.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Representative Alcaro, Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Alcaro, aye. Representative Babastro of Hogap. Representative Babastro, aye. Representative Blas of Chalampago Order. Representative Blas, aye. Representative Charfros. Representative Charfros, aye. Representative Cruz of Father Dueñas Memorial School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Dela Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative Cruz or Dela Cruz with the University of Guam, aye. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez, aye. Speaker Portuno of Derrida. Speaker Portuno, aye. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero, aye. Representative Hoffman of Sinajana. Representative Hoffman, aye. Representative Imbat of Okudu High School. Representative Imbat, aye. Representative Liu of Derrida. Representative Liu, aye. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz, aye. Floor Leader Paz of Jigo. Floor Leader Paz, aye. Representative Poboletti of Chalampago Order. Representative Poboletti, aye. Representative Puzan of Barragata. Representative Puzan, aye. Representative Rosario, Business and Technology Academy. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba, aye. Representative Suh of St. John's School. Representative Suh, aye. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio, aye. Representative Yang of Manilao. Representative Yang, aye.
Colleagues, Bill number 25-35 COR received 22 ayes, 0 nays, 10 excused. Bill number 25-35 COR is duly passed by this body. Congratulations, Representative Cruz. Mr. Acting Clerk, please read the title for Resolution number 10-35 COR.
Resolution number 10-35 Core, introduced by Devin C. Santos and further amended on the floor, is relative to expressing strong support of the Iminay Trento Cinco na Congression Manhoban Guahan, the 35th Guam Youth Congress, to Bill number 218-38 Core, relative to mandating the official use of the spelling Chamorro with the capitalized H in place of Chamorro with no capitalized H in Guam law, policy, and public documents, and to require implementation of this change by all government agencies and public education institutions.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Representative Alcaro, Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Alcaro, aye. Representative Babastro of Hogap. Representative Babastro, aye. Representative Blas of Chalampago Order. Representative Blas, aye. Representative Charfros of Manilao. Representative Charfros, aye. Representative Cruz of Father Dueñas Memorial School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Dela Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative Dela Cruz, aye. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez, aye. Speaker Fortuno of Derrida. Speaker Fortuno, aye. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero, aye. Representative Hoffman of Sinajana. Representative Hoffman, aye. Representative Imbat of Okudu High School. Representative Imbat, aye. Representative Munoz or Liu of Derrida. Representative Liu, aye. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz, aye. Representative or Floor Leader Paz of Jigo. Floor Leader Paz, aye. Representative Poboletti of Chalampago Order. Representative Poboletti, pass. Representative Puzan of Barragata. Representative Puzan, aye. Representative Rosario, Business and Technology. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba, aye. Representative Suh of St. John's School. Representative Suh, aye. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio, aye. Representative Yang of Manilao. Representative Yang, aye. Representative Popoletti? Representative Popoletti, aye.
Colleagues, resolution number 10-35 COR received 22 ayes, 0 nays, 10 excused. Resolution number 10-35 COR is duly passed by this body. Congratulations again to Representative Santos, wherever he is. I think he's off island. All right, last but not least, Mr. Acting Clerk, please read the title for Bill number 24-35 COR.
Bill number 24-35 Core, introduced by Nathan I. Paz, is an act to add a new section 24414 to Article 4, Chapter 24, Title 11 of the Guam Code Annotated, to add a new section 58110.1 to Article 1, Chapter 58, Title 12 of the Guam Code Annotated, and to amend Section 58203, Article 2, Chapter 58, Title 12 of the Guam Code Annotated, relative to implementing property tax abatement incentives to promote the implementation of green roofs and requiring a percentage of roofing areas for green roofs for certain qualifying certificate and hotel development.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Representative Alcaro, Simon Sanders High School. Representative Alcaro, aye. Representative Babasro of Higa. Representative Babasro, aye. Representative Bloss of Chalampago, ordered. Representative Bloss, aye. Representative Charperos of Manila. Representative Charperos, aye. Representative Cruz of Father Duenas Memorial School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative Cruz of Simon Sanchez High School. Representative Cruz, aye. Representative De La Cruz of the University of Guam. Representative De La Cruz, aye. Representative Fernandez of Notre Dame High School. Representative Fernandez, aye. Speaker Fortuno of Derrito. Speaker Fortuno, pass. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero, pass. Representative Hoffman of Sinahanya. Representative Hoffman, aye. Representative Imbat of Okudu High School. Representative Imbat, aye. Representative Liu of Derrito. Representative Liu, aye. Representative Munoz of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Munoz, aye. Representative or Floor Leader Paz of Jigo. Floor Leader Paz, aye. Representative Popoletti of Chalampago, ordered. Representative Popoletti, pass. Representative Puzon of Barragata. Representative Puzon, aye. Representative Rosario of Business and Technology. Representative Rosario, aye. Representative Suba of John F. Kennedy High School. Representative Suba, aye. Representative Suh of St. John's School. Representative Suh, aye. Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam. Representative Teodosio, pass. Representative Yang of Mingilao. Representative Yang, aye. Speaker Fortuno? Speaker Fortuno, aye. Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero? Assistant Floor Leader Guerrero, aye. Representative Popoletti? Representative Popoletti, nay. Oh. Representative Teodosio? Representative Teodosio, aye.
Colleagues, Bill number 24-35 COR received 21 ayes, 1 nay, 10 excused. Bill number 24-35 COR is duly passed by this body. Congratulations, Floor Leader Paz. Colleagues, there are no other business in the third reading file and no business in the voting file. We are now on agenda item number 18 for brief extension of remarks, and I stress the word brief. Are there any representatives wishing to speak for brief extension of remarks? Representative Balbasio of Haga, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning and good after morning and half a day, my colleagues. I stand here once again for and in behalf of the JROTC cadets. Cadets had done a fantastic job on the marksmanship competition last month, which took place at JFK. Good job to all the participants in the marksmanship competitions, which are Simon Sanchez Sharks Battalion, Okuru Bulldogs Battalion, Teachan High School, Air Force, JROTC, and most especially Southern High School Night Battalion. Keep training, stay consistent, stay humble, and remember to aim. Southern 99 Battalion has also done an amazing job last night at the bell ringing, with many donations coming in as part of their fundraising activity at Agania Shopping Center. It was great seeing the cadets doing great things for their battalion, and I hope to see them grow upon high in the future. Biba JRTC and Biba Cadets. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Balbastro. Biba. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak for a brief extension of remarks? Representative Charfers of Manila, you're recognized.
Okay, I'm going to try and keep this very brief. Okay, first off, congratulations to our newly sworn in representatives. We are glad you guys are here, and we are also, well, I am making myself available if you guys need any help with the whole process. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you, Representative Charfers of Manila. Are there any other representatives wishing to speak for brief extension of remarks? Hearing or seeing none, we are now on agenda item number 19, announcements. Are there any representatives wishing to share an announcement? I will speak just for the awareness of the body. Because of the communications and petitions received by the Youth Congress, the body does have a vacancy in the position of Legislative Secretary and the position of Chairperson of the Committee on Workforce and Economic Development, Higher Education, and Labor. There are two vacant positions, the leadership position and a standing committee chairperson position. Pursuant to my authority under the amended standing rules, I have appointed a temporary chairperson for the Committee on Workforce and Economic Development, Higher Education, and Labor, that being Representative Brian Teodosio. He was the vice chair under the previous committee, and so I felt that he would be more than equipped to temporarily assume the duties as chairperson until we convene at our next call to session in January to elect a new chairperson for the committee. Mr. Floor Leader Nathan Paz, pursuant to our rules, will ascend as the acting legislative secretary until we elect a new legislative secretary. Colleagues, I will put the election of these leadership positions before the body at our January call to session. And so if you're interested in being elected for these positions, now is the time to start lobbying for votes and asking for people's support, but we will consider this at our January call to session. If there's a question on when that will be, I will tell you now so that you can make adjustments to your calendar. The next January call to session of the Youth Congress is tentatively, I stress that, tentatively scheduled for Saturday, January 24 at 9 a.m. by statute. Okay? That's it for my announcements as speaker. Representative Pobletti, do you wish to make an announcement?
Buenos, congratulations to all the new electors today. Please give them a round of applause. I am considering on running for legislative secretary for January, and I hope to have your vote when we come to session. But Biba the new ones. Thank you.
Indeed. Biba to the new representatives. Are there any other representatives wishing to make an announcement? Representative Teodosio of the University of Guam, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll promise to keep this brief, but I have two announcements. First of all, my name is Representative Brian Teodosio. I am the temporary chairperson for the Committee on Workforce and Economic Development, Higher Education, and Labor, and I do intend to run for the position in January if I could have your support on this election. And if you have any questions about the committee or about kind of like my platform, you feel free to reach out to me. And then another announcement too, the Student Government Association at the University of Guam is holding their annual Triton Fest event on December 18th, Thursday, next week. If you guys are available, it's really open to the public. We have a lot of vendors, food trucks, we're gonna have performances, and a bunch of big activities that are also Christmas themed. So if you are available, it is from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Teodosio. Sorry, just a few questions on my end. I know, are you guys still accepting vendors for that event?
We are actually closed on vendors for the event.
And, we have a lot of representatives in here who are in the Junior Achievement Program, and so That would have been perfect. But thank you for that, Representative Teodosio. Are there any other representatives wishing to make a political announcement? Representative Guerrero of Dededo, you are recognized.
Zeus Masi, Mr. Speaker, and I'll also keep this brief. I'd just like to announce that I am also filing my intentions now and making the body aware of my intentions to run as legislative secretary. And you'll hear more in the January session, but Zeus Masi.
Thank you, Representative Guerrero of Dededo. Are there any other representatives wishing to make an announcement? Okay, hearing or seeing none, I will now recognize again Mr. Floor Leader on a very important motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at this time, I move to adjourn this second regular session of the 35th Guam Youth Congress, subject to call of the Speaker.
Thank you. There has been a motion by Mr. Floor Leader to adjourn this second regular session of the 35th Guam Youth Congress, subject to the call of the Speaker. Are there any objections? There better not be. Hearing or seeing none, the motion is carried. The session of the 35th Guam Youth Congress is hereby adjourned, subject to the call of the Speaker. Zeus Masi, and thank you to the youth of Guam.